There are different kinds of evidence: artifacts, documents, oral history, and there are different levels of reliability, which, as you might imagine, is very important when we're talking about evidence to support our ideas. The levels of reliability involve how close they are to the events that are being described. There are primary sources, direct testimony from the time and place that we're talking about. People that are eyewitnesses or people who are part of the culture and that experience the events and phenomena that we are looking for. Secondary sources involve a scholar sitting down and studying the primary sources and interpreting them, drawing a conclusion from that information. This adds an extra layer of interpretation, an extra layer of distortion. It takes it further from the events in question, but because it's expert testimony derived from studying the primary sources, it's still helpful in corroborating an argument that you're making based on the evidence that we have. Finally, there's what we call tertiary sources, the third level. Tertiary sources are when somebody boils down all of the secondary sources on a particular topic and draws a consensus conclusion. This smooths out all of the dissonance and disagreements and contrasting or nuanced interpretations of the evidence by the secondary sources, by the experts in this field. It removes all of that and simplifies it to a single set of statements. Tertiary sources involve things like textbooks, encyclopedias, and most of what's on the internet. Things like blogs and videos about history and, of course, websites like Wikipedia. All of that just boil down all the relevant information and consolidate it into a single deliverable. That leaves out a lot of information. That adds a tremendous amount of distortion. That's why tertiary sources are not allowed for use in writing history papers. For writing history papers, you need to use primary sources, direct testimony from the time and place, and secondary sources, expert corroboration based on direct study of primary sources, in order to support your own interpretations and analysis. The mix of primary and secondary sources depends greatly on the topic that you're covering. Some topics, there are a lot of great primary sources available. Some topics, there are excellent secondary sources that you need to look at. For some assignments, you're asked to write about a specific source, and so that's the source that you're using. The important thing is that you must use only primary and secondary sources in supporting the arguments that you're making.